When you decide to leave the city for a ski trip, you probably expect peaceful days in nature, friends, fresh air, and long, perfect trails of snow. But sometimes the most beautiful and serene places hide something you never expected. The stories you're about to hear are real, told by people whose perfect winter getaways turned into something far more chilling because of a strange gaze from the tree-lined footsteps echoing past midnight, or a voice calling out from the frozen woods. This is 3 true horror stories that happened in the snow. Story 1. The Stranger in the Snowbound Airbnb. It was supposed to be a perfect winter weekend. Just me and 3 close friends tucked away in a cozy Airbnb near a ski resort in Colorado. The cabin sat all by itself in the middle of a snowy forest about 20 minutes from the nearest town. We went there for fun, just some drinks, some games, and a break from city life. We didn't know it would be the last time we'd feel safe sleeping at night. The first night was normal. We made dinner, cracked open some beers, played games. Snow started falling hard around midnight, and the wind made the windows rattle a bit, but none of us thought much of it. What we did notice was the next morning. One of us saw footprints in the snow, human footprints leading out of the woods, circling the entire cabin, stopping at each window, but no prints going back. Someone had been watching us, circling, looking inside. We were freaked out but tried to brush it off. Probably just a lost hiker, someone said. A few hours of skiing helped take our minds off it. But that second night, something changed. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to a soft tapping on the back door. Light, rhythmic, like someone gently tapping the glass with the tips of their fingers. I crept over to the window, lifted the curtain just a bit. No one. But then I saw it. A smudged handprint on the glass. Fresh. Like someone had just touched it. I woke up the others. We searched the outside with flashlights. Nothing. The old prints had all been buried in snow. We locked every door and tried to sleep, but none of us really did. The next morning I stepped outside and saw it just beneath the bedroom window where I'd slept. Written in the snow with a finger in crooked, shaky letters, "I see you." We packed up. We weren't waiting for a third night. While we loaded the car, my friend Josh found something on the kitchen counter. A wristwatch. Not his. Not mine. None of us had ever seen it before. It was covered in dirt, and it was still ticking. No one said anything. We drove away through the snowstorm, dead silent. Just as we reached the end of the property, I looked back one last time, and I saw him. A figure half hidden between the snow-covered trees, watching us. Still. I don't know who he was, but I know one thing for sure. We were never alone in that cabin. Story 2. The White Arm in the Trees. After my father's funeral, I decided to spend a few quiet days alone at our old family cabin deep in the snowy woods of Oregon near Mount Bachelor. Just me and my dog Midnight. I needed time to clear my head. The 2-story cabin was old but peaceful, surrounded by towering pines and frozen silence. The first couple of days were simple, playing with Midnight in the snow, snowboarding, a little sipping whiskey, listening to music, smoking on the balcony. It felt calm, almost healing, until the third day. The snow had started falling heavier, and I stayed indoors. Later that afternoon, while outside with Midnight, I noticed footprints circling the cabin. Long, deep human footprints, fresh, likely made within the last 20 minutes. The problem was, no one lived anywhere nearby. The 2 nearest cabins were abandoned and miles away. The tracks came from the edge of the woods, looped around the cabin, and vanished back into the thick trees. I tried to shake it off. That night, Midnight suddenly bolted upright, growled low, and ran downstairs. I heard his claws tapping against the wood floors as he paced restlessly. Eventually, he came back up, jumped onto the bed, then tugged at me like he wanted to go outside. I reluctantly took him out, but instead of doing his business, he stood completely still, staring into the dark forest. Then, he looked up toward the roof. His ears perked up. I didn't hear anything. It was bone-chilling cold, so I brought him back in. But less than half an hour later, I did hear something. Footsteps. On the roof. Heavy. Slow. Measured. Like someone walking. My heart pounded. Midnight heard it too. He growled and ran to the balcony door. I grabbed my flashlight, stepped out, and aimed at the roof. Nothing. The snow was untouched. But then, I looked out toward the tree line and froze. There, perched on a branch level with the roof, was a creature maybe 8 or 9 feet tall, emaciated, its skin pale as snow. It crouched, clutching the branch with long tree-like limbs. Its mouth hung open, expressionless. Black, empty eyes stared straight into mine. Midnight whimpered behind me. Every instinct in my body screamed, "Don't shine the light on it." I stepped back inside slowly. Midnight followed. I closed the door, pulled the curtains, turned off the flashlight, and when I looked again, it was gone. I tried to calm myself, but sometime after midnight, I heard it again. Tap, 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 at the balcony glass. Soft, rhythmic, like fingers, gently requesting to come inside. It went on for hours. Midnight didn't bark. He just sat there staring at the curtain, waiting. I felt like whatever was out there wasn't trying to get in by force. It was inviting me, patiently, calmly. But then I remembered something my father once said, "Don't fear the dead, fear the living." I didn't open the door. I closed my eyes and waited for the light. The next morning I packed everything and left that cabin for good. I don't know what I saw, but I know something had been waiting, watching, and it knew I was alone. Story 3. The Voice in the Snow. My girlfriend Melissa and I went to my family's lodge in Vermont for a winter trip. It was her first time trying to learn how to ski, and we had a small private slope behind the cabin, just enough for practice. The place was secluded, nothing but woods and snow all around. During her very first try, she fell. We both laughed. And then, we heard it. A man's voice, from somewhere deep in the trees. "Hello." We froze, looked toward the woods. Nothing but silent pines and untouched snow. No one in sight. No footprints. No movement. I shouted back, "Who's there?" Silence. That night we sat outside by a small fire behind the cabin. Music played. The heat from the drink settled in. Then footsteps, crunching across the snow, stopping, somewhere just beyond the tree line. I muted the music. Melissa grabbed my arm, but nothing came closer. We ran inside and locked every door. The next morning I noticed the shed door was wide open. Cold breath fogged the air from within. I yelled for Melissa. She called back, from the living room. Whatever was in that shed wasn't her. I rushed to the window and saw a figure in black dart from the shed and vanish into the woods. I chased for a bit, but whoever it was long gone. Inside, nothing had been stolen, but the footprints told a different story. Someone had crept in from the woods and returned. That night, Melissa woke me up shaking. Her voice trembled. "Listen." From outside, a low, moaning voice. "Help me." It echoed through the black woods, like it was circling us. I crept toward the window and peeked through the curtain, just darkness. Then racing footsteps, charging toward the cabin. and a sudden bang on the glass, right at eye level. Melissa cried under the covers. I pulled the curtain shut and held my breath. Nothing. The next morning, footprints surrounded the cabin, hundreds of them. Someone had walked around to every single window. We didn't say a word, just packed, and left Vermont behind. I don't know who or what was out there, and I don't want to find out. We often feel safest when we're surrounded by friends, when there's a roof above our heads, or when we believe we're tucked away somewhere peaceful out in nature. But it's in those very moments, when your guard is down, that a pair of eyes might be watching silently, that a stranger might be circling the cabin where you sleep, or that something might be gently tapping on your window waiting for you to open it. Just remember, snow may cover many things, but it can't cover the fear once you realize that someone or something is out there. If you've ever had a vacation you wish you could forget, or a story that still keeps you awake at night, share it with me in the comments below. And as always, sleep well if you can. Sleep.